Money is not just what we spend. It's what controls our future, our options, and even our peace of mind. But here's the truth. Most people are not broke because they don't earn enough. They're broke because they don't know how to manage what they earn. It's not just about making money. It's about keeping it, using it wisely, and making it work for you instead of you constantly working for it. So if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if you're constantly stressed about bills, or if you just want to start building real wealth, this one rule might change your financial life forever. It's called the 50-30-20 budget rule, and it's more than just a formula. It's a financial lifestyle that can give you clarity, control, and confidence. Let's dive in. Welcome to Success Handshake, where we help you break through financial confusion and build a life of purpose, power, and prosperity. If you're serious about taking control of your money, hit the like button and subscribe now. Let's get started. Before we talk about what works, let's talk about what doesn't. Here's what most people do. They get paid. They spend. Then they wonder where all the money went. There's no plan, no clarity, just vibes and bills. Then they promise themselves, next month I'll do better. But the cycle continues. Sound familiar? This isn't just a spending problem, it's a systems problem. And when there's no system for your money will always control you. And that's the dangerous part. Because money doesn't just disappear, it flows somewhere. And if you don't tell it where to go, it will end up in places you never intended. That's why we need a framework. A simple, flexible, and realistic structure that anyone can use, no matter your income level. And that's where the 50-30-20 rule comes in. The 50-30-20 rule is a simple budgeting method that splits your after-tax income into 3 categories. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and debt repayment. That's it. No complicated spreadsheets. No crazy math. Just 3 clear buckets to guide your spending. But here's the real question. How do you actually apply it in your life? This first category is all about what you need to survive. These are your essentials: rent or mortgage, utilities like water and electricity, basic groceries, transportation to work or school, minimum payments on debts, and health insurance or medical care. The key word here is need. If you can't live without it, it goes here. But a common problem is that a lot of people's needs take up more than 50% of their income. If that's the case, that's a sign that something needs to change. So let's say your after-tax income is $2,000. Your needs should not exceed $1,000. But what if your needs already go way over 50%? That's a red flag. Here's what you do. First, take a hard look at your expenses. Go through your bills, one by one, and ask yourself if there's anything you're overpaying for. Are you living in an apartment that's too expensive for your budget? Do you have a car loan that's eating up your paycheck? Are there subscriptions or memberships that you don't really need? If your rent or mortgage is way too high compared to your income, you might need to consider moving to a more affordable place. If your car payment is killing your budget, it might be time to think about getting a cheaper, more fuel-efficient vehicle. It might not be easy, but making these decisions now will save you from struggling in the long run. Because if your needs are eating up 70% or 80% of your income, there's no room to save and no room to breathe. And let's be real, surviving is not the goal. We want to live, not just survive. When your needs are under control, the next category is where most people tend to overspend: wants. Things like eating out, entertainment, shopping for clothes, upgrading to the latest gadgets, streaming services, and vacations. The problem isn't spending on wants, it's spending without limits. And this is where most people get trapped. They convince themselves that everything is a need. That new phone? I need it for work. That expensive dinner? I deserve to treat myself. Before they know it, their budget is blown. The trick is to set boundaries. If you make $2,000 a month, your wants should not exceed $600. That's enough to enjoy life without wrecking your financial future. The key is to make sure your spending aligns with your priorities. Instead of buying things just because you feel like it in the moment, ask yourself, does this really add value to my life? And here's something most people don't think about. Your future self is depending on you to make smart decisions now. Now, this is where budgeting often gets misunderstood. Most people think being financially smart means cutting all your fun. That in order to save money, you have to live like a monk, eat nothing but rice and beans, and never step outside your house unless it's for work. Wrong. You can and should enjoy life. In fact, if your budget makes you miserable, you're not going to stick with it. That's why so many people try extreme money-saving strategies only to burn out and give up after a few months. The key is balance. And that's where the 30% category comes in. This is where your wants live. Now, what are wants? They're things that make life enjoyable, but they aren't absolutely necessary for survival. We're talking about eating out, streaming services like Netflix or Spotify, vacations or trips, shopping for clothes or the latest gadgets, gym memberships, hobbies, concerts, and even gifts for family and friends. Now, before you start thinking, wait, does that mean I shouldn't spend on these things? Absolutely not. It's important to treat yourself. You work hard for your money. You should enjoy it. But here's the catch. Just don't let the treat become the trap. Because if you spend too much on wants, you're not just wasting money. You're delaying your future. Think about it. Every extra dollar you put into unnecessary spending is a dollar that could have been growing your savings, reducing your debt, or building your investments. That's where the final 20% comes in, savings and debt repayment. This is the money that will help you build financial security. At least 20% of your income should go towards saving for the future, investing, and paying down debt. Why? Because this is the money that will give you options. The ability to take a vacation without stress. The confidence that if an emergency happens, you're covered. The power to retire comfortably when the time comes. If you don't have an emergency fund, this is where you start. Build at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses and savings. If you have high-interest debt, like credit card debt, this is where you focus on paying it down fast. If you have no debt and an emergency fund, start investing. Even if it's just a small amount, the earlier you start, the more your money will grow over time. This is the step that separates people who struggle forever from those who build real wealth. And the best part? You don't have to be rich to start. You just have to be intentional. So here's the challenge. For the next month, track your spending. See where your money is really going. And then start applying the 50-30-20 rule. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but that's a good thing. That means you're making real changes. Because when you take control of your money, you take control of your life. And this is where discipline comes in. Discipline here equals freedom later. So let's put some numbers on it. If you're earning $3,000 monthly, your wants should not go over $900. That's a lot of room to enjoy life, but it's also a clear boundary to keep your spending in check. Now, here's a powerful tip. If you ever want to save faster, start trimming the wants first. Why? Because unlike needs, wants are flexible. You can't suddenly stop paying rent. You can't just decide to stop eating food or using electricity. But you can cut back on subscriptions, reduce how often you eat out, or find free alternatives for entertainment. And here's a mistake many people make. You're not broke because you have Netflix. You're broke because you have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and HBO Max, and you never watch half of them. See the difference? It's not about depriving yourself, it's about being intentional, cutting the excess, keeping what truly matters, and making sure your money is working for you instead of against you. Now let's move to the most important category. This category is where the magic happens. This is your wealth zone. 20% of your income should go toward things that build your future. That includes your emergency fund, retirement accounts like an IRA, 401k, or pension fund, investments that grow your money, debt repayments beyond the minimum, building a side business, or anything that increases your net worth. This is not just about saving, it's about buying your freedom. Because money isn't just for spending, it's for creating opportunities. Let me break it down. An emergency fund gives you peace of mind, knowing that if an unexpected expense comes up, a medical bill, a car repair, or even losing your job, you have money set aside to handle it. Investments buy your future income. Money that grows over time means one day you won't have to work for every dollar you spend. Paying off debt increases your financial power. The less money you owe, the more money you get to keep for yourself. And here's a mindset shift. Paying yourself first should be non-negotiable. Most people make this mistake. They wait until the end of the month to save whatever is left. And guess what? There's never anything left. When you get paid, pay yourself first, then spend the rest. Because if you don't prioritize your future, no one else will. Let's put this into a real-life example. Let's say your monthly income after tax is $2,500. Here's how it breaks down. 50% for needs. That's $1,050. Rent? $700. Groceries? $200. Utilities? $100. Transport? $150. Phone? $50. Total? $200. You're under budget. That's good. 30% for wants. That's $750. Streaming services? $30. Eating out? $150. Shopping? $100. Weekend hangouts? $100. Trip savings? $100. That leaves a buffer of $270 for anything else that might come up. 20% for savings and investments. That's $500. Emergency fund? $100. Debt repayment? $150. Investments? $250. You see how it works? This structure gives you control and peace. And here's a real question a lot of people ask. What if I can't follow this rule because I don't earn enough? The answer? Treat the 50-30-20 rule as a goal, not a rule. Even if right now your budget looks more like 50-40-10, that's okay. The important thing is to start. As your income grows, aim to shift more into that 20% wealth building category. And remember, saving 5% is better than 0%. Small steps are better than no steps. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's not about being rich, it's about being in control. Because when you control your money, you control your options. Your stress goes down, your confidence goes up, and your future becomes something you build, not something you fear. This is your success handshake. Like this video if it gave you value. Subscribe for more real, actionable money strategies. And comment below, are you ready to try the 50-30-20 rule starting today? Let's take control of our money, one smart step at a time.